When was the last time you truly knew yourself? Not the name on your ID card, not the job you flaunt in meeting rooms, and not the mask you wear in front of the world to appear fine. But the truest version of yourself, the one lying awake on a quiet night, with thoughts endlessly swirling, wondering whether the steps you've taken in life are truly yours or simply imitations of someone else's path. In a dimly lit apartment, amidst piles of books and unwashed coffee cups, someone sits staring at their own reflection in the window. Outside, the city lights shimmer like stars that are too close, yet somehow still feel distant. They ask themselves, when was the last time they felt truly alive, unburdened by expectations? When was the last time they listened to their heart without the fear of being judged by the world? That night, rain fell slowly, tapping on the window like the fingers of time, reminding that everything moves forward, even when one chooses to stop. In the corner of the room, an open notebook lay, its pages filled with scribbles about plans, goals, and promises that were not always kept. Something bothered them about those pages. It was as if their life had become a long to-do list, where every achievement only highlighted the emptiness that remained. But they knew there was a big difference between feeling empty and being hollow. Emptiness is a condition that can be filled, while hollowness is a state of surrender. And they had not surrendered. They stood up from their chair and walked toward the bookshelf in the corner, searching for something that could provide answers, or at least a clue about what to do next. Their fingers stopped on a book with a worn cover, but its contents still burned with a bright light. The book spoke of perseverance, about how success is not a gift for the talented, but for those stubborn enough to keep trying even after repeated failures. The words pierced them like painful thorns, yet also woke them from the long sleep of doubt. They recalled nights spent alone in this room, writing dreams that seemed too big to reach. They remembered the days when they were so close to giving up, yet decided to take one more step, just one more, until they found themselves standing in a place that once existed only in their imagination. That night, with the book in their hands and their thoughts beginning to clear, they realized that perhaps life has never been about finding an ultimate goal, but about finding the reason to keep moving forward. And amidst all the fears that had tied them down, they found one thing stronger than fear: the belief that they could change, not because of a miracle, but because of relentless perseverance. As they sat back down and gazed out the window, the rain was still falling, but this time they no longer saw it as a symbol of sadness. The rain was proof that even the sky must release its burden before it can be clear again, and they decided that tonight was the time to let go of everything: doubts, fears, and the shadows of failure that had kept them chained. They picked up a pen and wrote a single sentence on the empty page of their notebook: "Perseverance is a choice, not a gift." And with that sentence they began their new story. To understand it further, we pour it into the story of a young, beautiful doctor named Nia. Nia, a young doctor living in a modern apartment in the heart of the city, is the embodiment of unwavering perseverance, a manifestation of the concept of grit discussed by Angela Duckworth in her monumental work. Every morning, as dawn leaves a golden glow on the horizon, Nia sits by her apartment window, overlooking the hustle and bustle of the streets, sipping bitter coffee that reminds her that life, just like that bitterness, is not something to avoid, but to be savored and digested in the process of finding meaning. Since childhood, Nia had instilled in herself the belief that talent is not the final answer to destiny, but merely a blank page waiting to be written with effort and perseverance, a belief that was tested during her difficult years in medical school, late nights spent reading scientific journals with sore eyes, and a heart often struck with doubts about her abilities. But it was precisely during these moments of exhaustion that she found the true meaning of determination. In her journey, Nia learned that the life goal she pursued, not just to become a successful doctor but a doctor who truly impacts the lives of others, became the compass that guided her through mental and physical storms, helping her see every patient not just as a diagnosis to be cured, but as a soul in need of healing. It proved that her presence in the world was not a random occurrence, but a moral calling to be answered through hard work and unwavering dedication. On quiet nights, when only the ticking of the clock and the sigh of the wind accompanied her, Nia often reflected by the edge of her bed, contemplating the meaning of the struggles she endured, realizing that the true value of grit is not just the strength to endure, but the courage to keep going even when the results are not visible. For her, success was not an end goal, but a long journey full of wounds, sweat, and tears that made her a more complete person. Like a philosopher searching for the meaning of life, Nia placed herself in the existential battlefield, where every decision she made was an affirmation of her existence in this uncertain world. And behind it all, she understood that passion, when combined with perseverance, is not just the key to achieving goals but the bridge to breaking through the limits of humanity, a pursuit that ultimately made her realize that a meaningful life is not found at the end of the journey, but in each step taken with a heart full of conviction and a soul brave enough to face limitations. But that night, amid the dazzling city lights reflecting in her apartment window, Nia sat lost in thought, her white coat still smelling of disinfectant, hugging her notebook filled with scribbled ideas and diagnoses, like an artist painting the canvas of her life with the ink of struggle and sacrifice. Her thoughts wandered far, not only to the operating room she had just left, where the sound of the heart monitor still echoed in her ears, but also to her simple childhood, when she sat on the wooden floor of her house, bandaging her younger brother's knee with a makeshift cloth, a small moment that sparked a fire within her to become someone capable of healing, not just physical wounds but also unseen emotional scars. She remembered how her mother once said that every drop of sweat from hard work was an unspoken prayer, and it was those prayers that continued to embrace her in moments when she felt broken, when patience she fought for with all her heart had to surrender to death, making her feel the bitter reality of human limitations as fragile creatures battling nature's will. But it was at this point that Nia found the reflection of grit philosophy that perseverance is not just about surviving, but finding meaning in the midst of pain, igniting the passion to keep learning from failure, and building a stronger foundation after every defeat. She gazed into the mirror, seeing her own reflection tired yet resilient, a face that had aged faster than her years because of the weight of responsibility she bore, but behind the dark circles under her eyes, there was a gleam of determination that never wavered, a kind of eternal flame that continued to burn despite the strong winds of adversity. Nia realized that her life was a journey without promises of ease, but it was in this that its beauty lay, because like a knife forged by fire, her soul was tempered by suffering, strengthening her character and conviction. In a world that often worships comfort and instant satisfaction, Nia chose a path that demanded hard work and patience, not because she was obsessed with success, but because she believed that the true value of life is found in continuous struggle, in the wounds she accepts as proof that she has dared to live fully. That night, her thoughts returned to an elderly patient she had just treated, a man who came in with empty eyes and trembling hands, bearing a life burden so heavy that every word that left his mouth felt like the last remnants of fading hope. Nia remembered how she held his hand, feeling the weak but persistent pulse, and in that grip, she found a lesson in human resilience, how we are all fragile beings but blessed with the ability to rise, even from the ruins. When the man finally left the hospital with a faint smile on his face, Nia felt something more than just a medical success. She felt the existential meaning of her existence, that she was part of something greater than herself, a thread in the fabric of life that is interwoven and supportive. She closed her notebook that night with a small note. Grit is not about winning or losing, but about daring to step forward even when uncertainty looms. It's the story of finding light in the darkness, of weaving meaning in every open wound. And as she lay in bed, staring at the silent ceiling, Nia knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she also knew that each challenge was a stepping stone bringing her closer to the best version of herself, a person defined not by the end result, but by the courage and perseverance planted in every step of the journey. If this journey has awakened something within you, a small wave that stirs the edge of your consciousness, whispering that maybe, just maybe, there is another page in life waiting to be written, then don't let that spark fade. Be a part of this story, not as a passerby, but as a traveler who chooses to keep walking, delving deeper into meaning, and challenging the limits of understanding. Press that button, not just to subscribe, but to declare that you are ready to open new doors to sharper thinking, deeper journeys, and changes you never imagined before. Because in every click, there's a decision to grow, to learn, and to become a version of yourself no longer bound by uncertainty. If these words have knocked on your consciousness, don't let that echo fade without a trace. Press the subscribe button not just to follow, but to step deeper, challenge the boundaries of thought, and ignite the spark of change that may have been asleep within you. Every small step you take, even when filled with challenges, is the foundation for creating great change. Believe me, true strength lies not in what you have achieved, but in your courage to keep moving forward even when the road feels heavy. And see you in the next video.